Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing XV07. So yes, indeed, we are back with NurglesGift's XV puzzles where negative constraints apply, and the X lines, which is, I believe, actually Nurgles' own invention. Now today we also are playing with regions, so it's not exactly Sudoku in that sense, as in it's not 3x3 boxes. But rather than try and explain it, let's just put up the grid, take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with XV07 by NurglesGift. Let me just double check it's all recording. It is not recording, of course not. Of course not. I'm glad that I keep checking these recently, but it is very disappointing that I keep having to do this so regularly to double check. I'm going to have to try and figure out why is this problematic. So 2 and it's deleted. Fantastic. So, rules-wise, we've got every row, column, and region must contain the digits 1 to 7. I mean, you should notice straight away that this is not a 9x9 grid. So this would be a region, that's 1 to 7. This is another region, that is 1 to 7. Of course, every row, every column as well. Then we have cells connected by an X must sum up to 10. So if this cell is a 3, this would have to be a 7 to make sure that these two cells do add up to 10. Cells connected by a V must sum up to 5. So if this is a 2, this would have to be a 3 and another 3 to make sure that these two cells add up to 5, these two cells add up to 5. Now, all X's and V's are given. So I cannot do the following. I cannot have a 3 next to a 2 in here. That has, well, I mean, that wouldn't have worked anyway, but a 2 in there because that would make a 5 without a V. I also couldn't have a 7 in here because that would make a 10 without an X. So that 2-7 pencil mark has broken the puzzle. Then we have digits in a cage cannot be orthogonally adjacent with any consecutive digit. So let's make an assumption here. If this is 2, none of these cells could be 1 or 3. And I'm kind of assuming the other cage cell is the same. And if this is 1 or 3, let's just say, for the sake of argument, it can't be 1 or 3. Let's say it's 4. This couldn't be 3 or 5 because that would break, and this could be 3 or 5, and it isn't. Okay. And then, of course, we've got the X lines. So, counting from the bulb, two lines of the same length and same color are connected XV lines. Counting from the bulb, the first cell of each connected XV line must sum up to 5 or 10. Notice this is not just 10. This is called an XV line, not an X line. The second cell of each line must sum up to 5 or 10, etc. So here's a 2-cell orange, and therefore it's paired up with this 2-cell orange. The fact that this is 3 and this is 3 means that these two cells have to be 2 or 7, so that they would add up to 5 or 10. That's all the rules we have for today. So, as always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. I am worried, actually. It's 2 stars. So, I mean, like, it can't be that difficult in that sense. Let's have a think. I mean, the fact that the XV lines are either X or V is very awkward. So these two cells, let's just do a bit of coloring first. This may help us. These two cells have to add up to 5. They could be 1, 4, or they could be 2, 3. Whatever it is, I'm going to call them blue. And therefore, this 1, 2, 3, 4 cell line has to be partnered with this 4-cell orange line. And these two cells are either blue to add up to 5 or red to add up to 10. So the idea is that if this is 1, this is 4. Now that could be the reverse. That could be 4 and 1. Or of course that could be 9, and 6. And either of these are possible in here. But notice that essentially I'm using red for high digits, 6, 7, 8, 9, blue for 1, 4, or 2, 3. Obviously don't know which one is which, but for now I'm just going to make this assumption. Is that helping me at all? These couldn't both be blue. So one of them could be blue, but it couldn't both be blue. because otherwise that would create a V and there is no V. Yeah, all very interesting, but not quite. Don't even know if this is blue or not. I think we're going to have to do more Sudoku than I normally do here to try and figure out what is going on. Right, let's use some letters. I don't know what this cell is. I'm just going to call it A. To add up to 5, I'm going to call this D. This is going to go back to A. Now this cell here has to add up to essentially 1, like it would be a D to get to 5, or an I, which is kind of, just think of it as diagonally across the E, to get to 10. And it's going to be one or the other. Now, where is D in this region? Can't be here. That breaks Sudoku, breaks Sudoku, breaks the negative XV constraint. So D is in one of these 3 cells. Okay. Now this 2-cell blue line is the same as this 2-cell blue line. Now there always has to be a low digit because it's either 5 or 10. So essentially it's either 1, 2, 3, 4 with 6, 7, 8, 9, low and high to get to 10, or it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 double. Now this cell cannot be the low digit. Well, it can't be A or D. It could absolutely be, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing here. It could be B. What am I doing? Yeah, there you go. It could be B or C. That doesn't break. But let's remove these colors for a second. Ignore these. Let's call this blue. These are going to be green-red. They could be double green, as in it could be a BC pair adding up to 5. This is also D or I, isn't it? Because it's kind of the counterpart of this A. No I's. No I. Where is I in this region? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the only place for an I, making this an A. Okay, and I want to say we're kind of rock and rolling, but we're making progress. As always, Sudoku, do more. Very powerful. Okay. So we've got A in this region. This is not A, so there's an A up here. Figure out where in a second. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's an A in one of these 2 cells. So that sorts out this region. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 6 and 7. Well, this is no A's. There is an A. And then essentially it's one of these 6 digits, which is just too many. Interesting. We can maybe try and start whittling this down a bit. So on this 4-cell XV line, there's a definite A in here, meaning one of these is D or I. and there is no X or V. So remember how I was saying there is an A somewhere in here in this region? Well, whichever one is an A here is a problem. Hang on, it's 3, 4. So 3, 4. So yeah, there is essentially a D or an I in here. And if I put an A, I will create either a V or an X and break the negative constraint. So there is no A in these cells. A could be in any of these 4. Hold that thought. A in here, and it doesn't matter, that would be another DI. It's not significant. Right, let's just think about these two now. A in here creates D there. Creates A or F here. So I end up with A, no A's, is an A, is an A. I think that's fine. And therefore D or I, it'll be I. Yeah, all of that's fine. So this being an A is fine. This being an A, less interesting because we don't know what's going on here. Don't know. This being A, of course that is not A. This is now another D or I to partner up with this A, since it's the fourth cell on the blue line. So I end up with a DI pair. Sometimes I find having an extra color is helpful because, you know, these two are the same clearly. So if this is A, that would be this cell, and it would have to be D or I, which would break because there's no X or V. So this is not A. This is A. That is not A. And therefore this 3-cell line, this would be D or I, except it's definitely I. Therefore this is definitely not A. Therefore this is definitely A. This is definitely D. This is not D. And this 4th cell is D or I, but it's not I, it's D. That's not D. That is D. And suddenly we've got a decent number of letters. Now these 2 cells have to be red-green, because obviously that can't be blue or a red-blue because it will create a 10 or a 5. So this is green-red, this is another green-red. Could that be A? Let's just think about that. Yeah, so these 2 cells are the partners. So this is A or F, that's actually fine. So this is definitely a blue-red. This, I suspect, will be problematic. If it's blue-red, let me just think. Nothing stops me from having A in here, and then I there, and then F here. I think that's actually fine. Oh, obviously, A's, not A's, is an A, not an A, is an A. So that's A's done. This is not A or D. It's obviously not I. It could be F, but F here would require a D there, which is problematic. So this is blue-green again, as in the BC kind of groupings. And that's all 7 A's, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing, 7. Fine, this is good. That's adding up to 5. This is blue-green again. This red goes here. Yep, we're done with that. This cell is not A, D, or I. It could be F, but that would cause this to be D, which creates a V. So this is green-red. This is green-red. This cannot be A, D, or I. And if it's F, it creates a D in here, which is not possible. So these two are again green-red. And then these two presumably are green-red, but let me just think about that. Neither of them are A. This one can't be I. This one can't be I. So it's not A or I. Neither of them could be D. So short answer is this is another blue-green. Right, let's think about D's now for a second, because we've got this region sorted. This region is sorted. This region is sorted. This one is sorted. This one can't be here because of Sudoku. It's none of these because of Sudoku. So it's one of these two cells. This region, well, it's none of these cells. So that's D, that's I. And therefore that's D, that's not D, that is D. And that is all the D's done. And an I here. So with A and D done, I think all of the remaining XV lines have to be blue-green. Sorry, red-green. So like I'm half tempted to remove it because I'm not sure it actually adds anything yet. And because we can't do, well, hang on. We've been down this before in the previous version of this puzzle, where we've determined you can have a double 5 to get to 10. So I am actually not sure these are correct. If they end up in the same region, or somehow see each other where they're guaranteed to be unique, then the answer is yes. So these two cells, for example, because this line is paired up with this line, so these two are together, I can't have a double 5. That is definitely blue-green. We should have a think, actually, around the fact that this is only the digits 1 to 7. So notice, right, so what does that mean? Essentially, we can only pair up 6 and 7, not 8 or 9. So the 6 and 7 can only pair up with 3 or 4, or 1 and 2. Now, we have clearly paired up the A with I's a few times. So we know that the A is 3 or 4, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get to 10. And therefore the D, to get to 5, is one of the 1s or 2s. Now this cell, whatever it is clearly... No, not clearly, because it doesn't have to be adding up to 10. It could be adding up to 5. So this could both be green. So ignore that. Anyway, is there anywhere else where they see one another? So yes, these two cells, the second one on this line, also see one another. So this is definitely blue-green. We have to have a 5. So the 5 in this region can only be in here, because there's nothing in row 2 that is a 5. All of these are not. So the 5 is in here, meaning this is not a 5, and therefore this is not a 5. Okay. These two are in the same box, same region, excuse me. So they are not 5s. The 5s are in one of these two cells. They're in the same region as well. So this is definitely blue-green. And because this is red-green, which is on the second cell of blue, this is definitely red-green. So the only way I can get a 5, and because this is red-green, this is red-green, is a double 5 is on this XV line here, only one spot. Which, to be fair, is still many, so don't knock it. Actually, column 6, where's the 5? It can only be in here. That's a 5. No 5s. That's another 5. 5 is in one of 2 cells. Which is quite interesting, and I'll show you why. If this is 5, well, that's not 5. No, I thought if this is 5, that's not 5. But never mind, if this is 5, this is definitely 5. Ignore that. But if this is 5, so this would be 5, this would be 5. This is not 5 anymore. So this is another red-green paired up with a 4-cell one. This is another red-green. So 5 in row 4 is in one of the 2 cells. No 5 in here. No 5s in there. Because of this. Where's the 5 in column 2? Well, it could only be in this cell, can't it? Whereas the 5 in column 1, it can only be in here. Then, in essence, that's the remaining 3 5s, isn't it? So let's just think about my options. So this was one option, purple. Presumably, that's my other option, I don't know, orange. And both seemingly are equally valid. Seemingly. Yes. So I'm going to ignore this for a second, not worry about these. And now we've got to do something about it. The problem is because I don't have any more V's, I don't know which one is low and which one is high. So I'm going to have to pick one of them. This is going to be awkward. This cell as the B or H pair. Now, if this is H, this would be B. If this is B, this would be H or C, which is quite awkward now. But one of them has to be B, is the conclusion here, based on what I've picked. It has to be a low digit. This cell is paired up with this cell. Now we know that this is not B. Nothing stops it from being a high digit though. So these 2 cells are not B. How do I know that? This is not B. So this is, let's just think about what the options are. C, G, or H. Nothing stops me from having a B in here. In fact, I mean, there's definitely a B in one of these 2 cells. So that wasn't helpful. And this cell is pairing up with this cell. So B to pair up with the H or C to pair up with the G. Or of course, G to pair up with the C, so it's not, it doesn't have to be low. Oh, this is bonkers. So this is not B, this is CGH, and presumably the pairing says this is now BCG again. C could go with B or G. H would go with B, G would go with C, so this is full. One of these is definitely low. Because that's the pairing. This cell is paired up with this one. These two are paired up. They can't be both low. If they're both low, then I've essentially got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these would end up being 6, 7, and they're of course consecutive, orthogonally adjacent with a consecutive digit in this cage, and that breaks the rule. So that has to be a low digit. I'm half tempted to actually, now that I know that this is definitely low, to actually redo the letters here. I'm not even sure this is correct. So this is definitely B or C on this 3-cell orange, which is on this 3-cell orange. And therefore, this could be any of them. That wasn't helpful. That wasn't helpful in the slightest. Of course it is. This cell is not 5 or blue. So this is green-red. If it's green, it's broken. It's red. Therefore, this is green. That's my 2 greens. This has to be red. Then I'm just going to pick at random. This is B. This is C. And therefore, remember, this is going to be pairing with one of the B's or C's, because I've already paired up the A and I. So this is a 3 or 4 with a 6 or 7. This is another 6 or 7 that's going to be pairing up with one of the B's or C's. But it can't be the B because there's no X. So it has to be pairing up with the C. So this is G. And therefore, whenever I have a B, I must pair it up. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I must pair it up with a green cell. And this has to be C. This is a very clever puzzle. Now, this 4-cell arrow, this C, is pairing up in here with either B or G. Both work. This is not B or G. This is C or I. Yeah, blue and red only have one red. Green and red only have one red. And when you see B and G, that has to be C, and therefore this has to be green. And this is now pairing up with this cell. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1, 2, 3. So this is, remove that corner pencil mark, either of B or G, but I already have G in the column, so therefore it has to be B. and this is my C. And this is BG in here. On the 2-cell arrow, the C goes with either. The B has to go with C. The G has to go with C. So they're both, this is always C. And therefore this is another BG. And therefore this is C. Again, to pair up with B, it's C. H doesn't exist. G, it's C. Wow. So this cell has to be I. Remember, this is 1 or 2. This is 6 or 7. This is 6 or 7. Oh, can't be 6 because of the 5. So this is how we're going to disambiguate everything in a bit. And I'm sure I could do better with the C's. So this is not G. This is B or C. And it's for the 4-cell orange. That's the 4-cell orange. Because that's C, that has to be B. And in here, that's the C, that's the I. How are we doing with C's? We're nearly there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are there. So I need B's, G's. Don't know. Just going to pencil mark for now. 5G. Can't have a G in here because that would create a 10. So this has to be 5 after all. And this is 5. These are not 5s. That's my 5. I'm going to color these a nice neutral gray. And then we can bring it home with these B's and G's. That's a G. B, G, B, G. G tells me B, G. B and I, that's not I, that's B, that's I. That's G. That's, hang on, that's I. Fantastic. So I'm just going to clean this up a bit. I think that is everything colored. Right, remember 6 or 7, G can't be 6 or be consecutive, so G has to be 7. And the G is pairing up with the C, so C's has to be 3, B has to be 2. The A is the 3 or 4, so it is the 4. The D is the 1. And then the 4 is pairing up with the 6. That is phenomenal, NurglesGift. That is absolutely phenomenal. I hope you guys enjoyed it anywhere near as much as I have. That was fantastic. That was a real treat. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. And I'll see you back soon. Yeah, it's all recorded. Bye-bye for now.